Shalom. I pray in the Almighty of the Almighty name of my of mind, everyone's ultimate only one master, Yahawah, and his only begotten Son, MASHYACH YAHAWAHSHI, and his Holy Spirit, Harakakadash. I pray to Lord of Israel. Yahawah Basham, MASHYACH YAHAWAHSHI Basham, Harakakadash. I pray to Lord of Israel, all and only. Amen. The so-called white man who's the devil, now we all know so-called white people, they're the wicked Edomites. Their nationality according to the Bible is the Edomites. Edom means red in Hebrew. Okay. The so-called white people, the Caucasians, they are the fake white people actors. They are the real red people bears. Okay? Because the real white people bears, that will be the Aramites, the Armenians. Okay? But the so-called white people, the Edomites, the Caucasians, those are the fake white people actors, aka they are the real red people bears, and they are the children of Lucifer, Satan. And the Lord marked them to be the wicked. The Lord marked them red. The Lord marked them red to be marked to be the wicked. Okay? So people will know that the so-called white people, they're the physical manifestation of Satan. Nevertheless, when you believe in Yahawah Bashim, Yahushua Bashim Kakadash, they will push white Jesus and Christianity spells against you to get you to be deceived with Christianity and white Jesus. Okay? And once they are successful at making you believe in white Jesus and Christianity, their next step is they will get you to think, when you talk about God, Jesus and stuff like that, Yeshua, Yahushua and stuff like that, when you speak about any other God other than Yahawah Bashim, Yahushua Bashim Kakadash, and they know that you have been deceived with Christianity or other religions, then they will say, hey, stop talking about religion here. God and Satan don't exist. And they can say, oh, I don't believe in God. Okay, they can get you to think that both God and Satan have no existence. That's after they deceive you from Hebrew Israelism, from believing in Yahawah Bashim, Yahushua Bashim Kakadash, to believing to white Jesus. But then if you are not deceived and you are convinced by the truth, by Hebrew Israelism, and you believe in Yahawah Bashim, Yahushua Bashim Kakadash, then they're going to push white Jesus and Christianity and Catholicism, Orthodox and Protestant and Christianity, and they're going to push Christianity spells, which is the false light and spiritual artificial appearances. They're going to push it against you. Okay, because they know you know the truth. So now, if they tell you that God and Satan don't exist, it's not going to work out. So what they're going to do, they're going to make you follow the false light. And Christianity and Catholicism, Orthodox, and the sects of Christianity, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormonism, Seventh-day Adventists, the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints, all of that BS, okay, those are false lightness, spiritual artificial appearances. The true lightness, spiritual natural appearances, it comes from Hebrew Israelism. It comes from believing in Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Harakakadash. That's where the so-called white people in 1492 to 1503, something like that, they brought another gospel and another Messiah to the Americas, and they deceived the natives, the natives, the Negroes, the Mexicans, the Latinos with Santa Maria, with Jesus Christ, with Joseph, with angels, with Christianity. Okay, so the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, the God-chosen people, or the Negroes, natives, Mexicans, and Latinos will stop worshiping Yahawah Bashim, Yahushua Bashim Kakadash, and will no longer follow the true likeness. And now they're going to be following the false likeness, which is Christianity and other religions, but mainly Christianity and the other sects of Christianity, like Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormonism, Catholicism, Orthodox, Protestant, so on and so forth. So they want you to follow. So when you are convinced about the truth, when you're following the true likeness, when you possess true likeness, spiritual, natural appearances, then they will make you follow, then they will make you possess false likeness, spiritual, artificial appearances. And when you allow them to deceive you and allow them to put spells and curses against you of Christianity, then they're going to, after 2 months or whatever, when you start talking about Jesus and God and religion, they kind of shut you down. They kind of say, hey, God and Satan don't have existence. Okay? Or they can say, no, it's not Jesus, it's different God. And see, and when they say that, it's basically they're being hateful against the Father Yahawah and the Son Yahawashi and the Holy Spirit Kakadash indirectly. Because when they say F Jesus, they're basically saying F Yahawashi. They're not saying F Jesus. They're saying F Yahawashi. When they say F Yahweh, they're basically saying F Yahawah. When they say F Yeshua, F Yahushua, F Yahusha, F Jesus, they're basically saying F Yahawashi. And when they say holy, they say this one, right? That's a blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. But most importantly, when they say Jesus can go to hell, the hell with Jesus, fuck Jesus, right? They're basically cursing the Son of God, Yahawashi. That's these so-called white people, I'm telling you. Okay, so long story, short story. And one more thing, if when you believe in Yahawah Bashim Yahshua Bashim Kakadash, okay, they're going to get you to think, or people in general who believe in God, right? If when they wrong you, when the so-called white people wrong you, and you want to take revenge, but you don't want to take revenge by your own self, they can get you to think that God doesn't curse. And if you don't allow them to get you to think that God doesn't curse, like you do know that God cursed too, okay, just like Satan blessed, God also can curse too. So now, when you want to curse them, just like they cursed you and you want to put curses against them, they can get you to think, oh, God, he only cursed spiritually. He doesn't curse physically. So what are you waiting for? Why don't you come and do something about it? And instead of relying on your God like a pussy, come and rely on yourself and fight against us man to man or face to face. But little do they know, well, their police and their governments, they're all stand by their side. Most likely they can win the fight, okay? And the police, they're going to stand by their side against the victim's side. And the victim is going to be attacked for the second plus time. He's going to be attacked for the second time plus. And God, he doesn't only attack spiritually. Okay? He can use others with possession of others. Use others to curse the so-called white man physically while the so-called white man is in the physical realm. And to curse other witches and warlocks in general by using others with possession of others, using others to curse the so-called white man physically, while the so-called white man is the physical realm, with possession of others. Or he can do without possession of others by sending the angels in Yahawashi and Yahawah without possession of others. He can send the angels Yahawashi and Yahawah. He has to curse the witches and warlocks and to curse the white man spiritually while the so-called white man is in the spiritual realm, and to curse the so-called white man spiritually while the so-called white man is in the physical realm, because the Lord can curse them spiritually while they are in the spiritual realms, because they astral project. The witches and warlocks, they can go outside of their body and they can curse regions, curse people, harass and spy against people. So the Lord can curse them spiritually while they are in the spiritual realms, and the Lord can also curse them spiritually while they are in the physical realms. But the Lord can also curse them physically while they are in the physical realms, without possession of anyone. So without God using anyone. The Lord can use someone, yeah, or he can even use other witches and warlocks to curse other witches and warlocks, or he can use other regular people to curse the psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists, witches and warlocks. But the Lord can also, without possession of others, he can send his angels, Yahawashi or Yahawah, to appear physically to the so-called white man or to any other witches and warlocks, the followers of the so-called white people. He can appear physically to them and curse them and torture them physically while the so-called white man is in the physical realms. Yes, God can also curse physically too, not only spiritually. And he can curse physically by using others or by using his angels, Yahawashi or Yahawah, to appear physically to someone. And either God can curse someone or bless someone. But now we're talking about the so-called white man, how to get rid of him. You can pray to Yahawah Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kakarash, and if you want to curse the so-called white man, the Lord can curse the white man spiritually, financially, socially, cognitionally, emotionally, verbally, visually, heartily, all of the above. But God can also curse physically, not only spiritually. And he can curse the so-called white man physically, while the so-called white man is in the physical realms, by the Lord sending his angels or sending one of his angels, or sending Yahawashi, or sending himself, Yahawah, he sent himself to appear physically to the so-called white man, or to the followers of the so-called white man, to appear physically and to curse the so-called white man physically, while the so-called white man is in the physical realms. And of course, God also can curse the so-called white man spiritually, while the so-called white man is in the spiritual realm. And the Lord can also curse the so-called white man spiritually, while the so-called white man is in the physical realms. Shalom.